Good evening, happy Friday, and welcome to Last Call, where the liquor is hearty and so are the laughs. At least they will be tonight, because tonight we are watching the brilliant comedy Safety Geeks, SVI. And better still, we will be joined by the creator, writer, producer, and star of the program, Tom Konkle. I know all my regular viewers know who Tom Konkle is, but suffice it to say that Netter and I are really big fans. So this is just a wonderful privilege for us. And I know he has limited time, so I really don't want to keep him waiting. So top off your glasses, run through your safety checklists, and strap in. The Canarble Wagon rolls right now. Vasalu, everyone. Welcome to Last Call. Netter, are you as excited as I am?
I think I'm more excited than you are. I think I'm a bigger fan. I really do.
Okay, we're gonna fight over who the bigger fan is. That's funny. No, it's true. I know that you've been doing your retro cinema for years now. You just started your Thursday things. And you talk a lot about, vintage films and stuff that we loved growing up. And you've been pushing the Trouble Is My Business every chance you get.
Absolutely. I love film noir, and that's just a classic movie. I fell in love with it the first time I saw it, and I can watch it over and over again and find something new each time. Yep.
And, and you know who our guest is. So let me get Aged Boomer in here. Boomer, be on your best behavior. We're bringing Tom Konkle in just a second. How are you doing though? I know we talked in the green room, but I think the fans kind of want a house update. How are things going?
No, things are going well. They're still working on it. So as far as I know, they're going well at least. And like I said,
But you're not moved back in yet.
No, a friend of the family though very generously is letting us stay with her. So that's
yep.
Good. But, yeah.
You're still transmitting from an undisclosed location.
Yes,
somewhere in the state of Florida.
I sound okay though, right?
No, you sound fine.
Okay,
I'd let you stay with us, but it's several states away.
Yeah.
I have people I could stay with in Orlando. It's just around this area. It's just
That's fair. That's fair. Absolutely.
But big guest tonight though. Yeah. Definitely.
Absolutely, and let's not keep him waiting. Let's get him right in here. Tom Konkle. Now, how you doing, Tom, and what you sipping on tonight?
At the moment, I'm just having water, but I will be dipping into some more stuff later, I'm sure.
You haven't even had a chance to have dinner, so I know we gotta. We'll keep this not too long, at least as far as you go tonight, because. But I mean, it's still fairly early there for you. I mean, you're over there on that left coast, and
yes, I am. Troy, I just wanted to say I'm really glad to be on here with you and Netter and Age Boomer. I really appreciate everything that you and the people in the chat that have been following me have been supporting. I mean, it's really the reason I do it. Yeah. And it's from a genuine place. It's like I try and make stuff that I want to see and I want to enjoy. And you put this stuff out here and you work on it for a long time. And then when it lands somewhere and somebody's like, hey, that's not bad. I like it. It just makes it all worth it. So
right.
I appreciate you and Netter supporting the film. And tonight's going to be fun. Taking a look at...
Absolutely. We'll get to that in a second, but let me tell you something. I look through your IMDb from time to time, and I don't always scroll all the way to the bottom. So I did that tonight, and I realized your first credit is before I graduated high school.
I know.
I'm like, holy cow, man!
I've been at it a long time. Yeah,
1983.
I was just finishing. That was my last year of high school, and I booked some jobs going into college. And then as soon as I graduated from college, I got everything, packed it in my car, and moved to LA.
Yeah.
So I was out in LA by 88.
How is it that you have been in La La Land all this time and you're still a wonderful, warm person? That just you haven't lost your soul like so many have.
I they only let me out on Thursdays.
Okay. There you go.
Well, in that case, you got to come over to my Thursday Things channel.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. I should. There are good and bad people everywhere. Here, there is a super concentration of people that will use you. Not good people of not good quality. I have been really lucky. I think one of the reasons, you're a reflection of your friends and the people you surround yourself. And I've found a great quality group that we kind of live in a bubble. People like Dave Beeler and Mike Smith and all these people that I've created, even including, creating something like Safety Geeks. These are deep human beings. And we have good values and good morals, and we don't live the Hollywood lifestyle. We're doing this stuff because we want to, know. And for me, it's like we get together and it's friends with a purpose. We sort of like, hey, I've got this idea for a show. Let's do that. I just happen to do this for a living, and I'm really lucky that somehow I was able to turn what I do into some sort of career, and that. With the internet, you can reach people more directly than you could like in the 90s when I would throw stuff out there. And, as an actor or a director or writer, you make a lot of other people a lot of money. But finally, with the internet, you kind of give yourself permission to own the restaurant for a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And speaking of great people, let me real quick run through the chat and say hi to everybody.
Sure.
Of course, Netter over here, she was first like 2 days ago, but that comment fell off already. First one I'm seeing is, of course, CK, longest running superhero RPG on Earth. He's got some bad storms going on in his area, but so if you drop out, totally understand that. But by all means, we are so glad that you're here. Big Al presents another one. That's Netter's partner on Saturdays with the Retro Cinema.
Oh, great. Okay,
They trade off, and he's good people, and welcome, Big Al. Let's see. Deleted Scenes, of course, dropping all the links. Super appreciate that.
Deleted, thank you.
Sir Torrin Clegane, welcome. Pacific 414, good to see you. And of course, Evelyn Kapla, Admiral, good to see you. Adega Outlaw, great artist friend of mine. He's good people. He's been on the channel before. David Pensack, about, what do you say? About damn time for last call with Troy Pacelli, Agent Boomer, and Netter's Network. Yeah, well, you know what? When you got a celebrity in the green room, maybe you don't start on time. Maybe you take a few moments to chit chat, in private. Like this guy here, The Real Deal with Tom Konkle, and of course, Deleted Scenes is dropping all the links. I want everybody who's here, for me, for Netter, I want you to subscribe for yourself. Subscribe to Tom Konkle, The Real Deal with Tom Konkle, and I'll explain why if you don't already know in just a moment. Agent Boomer's in the house, of course. Yep. Gap After Dark. Hey, Troy and Netter. Hello, panel. So glad that you stopped in. And I think I'm caught up. If I missed you, you're not commenting enough. So say hi and let me know what y'all are sipping on. In the meantime, I'm going to get back to
CK.
I did say hi to CK.
Yeah,
there you go.
You say that one.
Yeah. He's.
Did you say hi to Adega?
Yep, Adega. I think I'm all caught up.
Have you said what you're sipping on yet?
Oh! I just got a red wine, a sweet red wine.
Okay.
Got it right here over my shoulder. It's actually. I've actually had it sitting around for a while, but needed to get polished off. And I figured, red, the color of blood, like an accident that might happen in the workplace. I try to come up with a thematic drink
there. Yeah, I love it.
Exactly. So I actually do have some new faces in the chat, Tom. So I can't assume everybody knows you. Just a real quick 30,000 foot overview, a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I am an actor, a film director, a writer in Los Angeles. I have been doing this almost 30 years now, since a young whelp, and I have a movie out called Trouble Is My Business. I've created internet content since about 2007, creating sketches and internet shows and series. I used to be the staff writer of a show called Be Cool Scooby-Doo for Warner Brothers.
Yep.
Done a ton of voice work, Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2. I was in that. So I've had a really
I didn't even know that. I was like, until like, it was just like a month ago, I heard you mention it in a stream, and I'm like, no way.
Yeah, it's such a great thing to be a part of. It's such a great story. They treated it like a movie when we were making it. It was pretty spectacular. We had all the cameras capturing us and everything. But just, I'm a lucky guy. I make a decent career out of doing what I love, and in the meantime, I'm creating stuff that I myself want to see.
Yeah.
So that's really what I'm about.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so this is what I wanted to get to. This is why I think it's so important. Everybody who's in the stream right now, everybody who sees this in the future, make sure, and of course the link is permanently in the description below, although I know Deleted Scenes is dropping it. Subscribe to The Real Deal with Tom Konkle, because there's some really great content there, and it goes back a long way, so you could start watching it now and have weeks and months of entertainment there.
And there's a lot of stuff on there. You're right.
And one of the big things that I mean, look, don't get me wrong, I do my share of ranting and complaining, especially when I get a few of these in me.
Me too.
Yeah. But there's a lot to complain about these days. The entertainment that we're getting out of Hollywood is, well, I mean, you hear us talking about it all the time, but this is why, between the rants, I also want to share with people the things I'm enjoying, the alternatives, right? And a channel like yours is a great alternative. And one of the great things about this medium that you mentioned, the internet, and you're being able to use it, is tell us the story about how Safety Geeks came into existence and why now you have it on your channel.
Yeah, well, you're right. There's not a lot right now that's aligned with what I enjoy seeing. Sometimes you'll see great stuff, but most of the time it's disappointing, or it's just not something that you like. With Safety Geeks, there was a guy that I did a bunch of shows with. He was my writing partner. We used to perform sketch shows together. We even did a thing where we were a fake British comedy team called Dave and Tom, and we did live shows all over the place.
I love that, which is also on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's also, there's some great samples of stuff, which actually hatched Invention with Brian Forbes and a bunch of different stuff. Well, Dave and I, the way Naked Gun was making fun of police shows from the 70s and 80s, we were looking at all these procedural investigation shows. And one night we were just laughing about it, and we're like, God, with all these, SVUs and, all the CSIs and everything that were going on, it was its own closet industry, but there were starting to be all these usual tropes and all the things you could almost predict. It's like he's going to go through the garbage for 5 minutes and find what he needs, and there's always the girl in the wheelchair or the chair who finds everything on the computer. And so we started laughing, and I was like, what if we did our own kind of Adult Swim Naked Gun take, just totally absurd, totally Monty Python, Adult Swim take on it. And we started laughing, and I had read something, and I think I mentioned it to Dave, where it was the Darwin Awards, which, on the internet back,
right.
That was, you found these things and you'd be like, oh my God, the guy that lights a cigarette on, and he's sitting on gunpowder and blows.
Yes.
And there's people that shouldn't be in the gene pool, and I thought, okay, what about the most dangerous safety team that ever existed?
and the slapstick element of it.
Exactly. And then from there, it was aesthetics. It was like, okay, how do we make it? How do we do this kind of ambitious idea? And I thought, you know what? Dave and I talked about it, and we're like, what if, can't do animation, because that's not what I'm about. And I don't have that resource when I'm doing this internet thing. And I thought, what if it was the aesthetic of all these animated shows, but it had human faces? So then
Right,
it
right.
started spiraling off. We're like, we could have wigs and we could have all this stuff.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, my partner Mike Smith in my company, he is a visual effects guy.
Right.
And I was thinking, if it's not something we touch, I said, Mike, your wife's gonna kill me, but if I came over, could we comp like every background, like create every setting? If I went into Costco and like took pictures of Costco and all these different ones, could we make that? And Mike's like, I don't know, come on over. So, at night we worked on this thing when we could. Dave and I wrote them. We brought together this great cast. I actually had a casting director friend of mine who brought in all this. And then I was like, okay, I'll do the music and do all this kind of stuff. And we can talk about that too. It's also important, like the theme song and everything. And from there, it was, let's do a funny procedural investigation.
Yeah.
And the internet allowed me to do it not filtered. Like I didn't have to answer to anybody.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, did you try pitching it to a network or?
I did. I was at Comic-Con. By the way, I see Gap After Dark loves Dracula Symphony of Blood.
Yes.
Yes, that's I'm really proud of the stuff I do. It's called Mindstream Players. You can find that too. You
Yep.
put a link or something in there. But Mindstream Players are the audio things I do, and I do all genres from
The
horror,
Flash
comedy.
Gordon, I love.
Flash Gordon, man. That Flash Gordon is like a Safety Geeks treatment of
Yeah, it is. Of Flash Gordon, yeah, exactly.
Totally. In fact, some of the same people are in that.
Mhm.
And there's actually some of the same people in Safety Geeks are in a more serious yet kind of funny thing with Trouble Is My Business. A
Yep.
lot of the faces you'll recognize because when you find good people, you want to work with them, again and again and again. And there's a bunch. There's Brittany Powell, Benton
Yes.
Jennings, Steve Tom, Mark Tyke. All the people from there ended up. Even Dave plays a thing. So long story short, because it's the internet, I thought, well, I'll take it to the Adult Swim people. And I'm at Comic-Con, and we were showing a clip of it. We had been asked to have a table and stuff there. I had been in some other shows. Brittany had been in some shows. So we were signing stuff and showing it. And the guys from Adult Swim are there. So I said, hey, we got this thing. You can take a look at it.
Yeah.
I actually can show you what we did. And this is before Archer. This is before
Sure.
any of those shows came out. This is 2010.
Hmm.
So I show them like the promo and the stuff that we did, and they're like, "That's really good."
Right.
But they only do in-house stuff, and they're based in Atlanta. So I got Crawford and a bunch of the people that went on to create a lot of those other shows love the show, but they're like, "We don't take outside stuff. We don't do.
Ouch.
We only develop, and we only do animated stuff." And that at the time they only had animated stuff. I know they've branched into doing some kind of weird live action stuff, which
Yeah.
probably was because they'd looked at my show, and we're like, hey, that's pretty good. But yes, I got to pitch it. Everyone thought it was too weird, too crazy, whatever.
Compared to the other stuff that's on Adult Swim, oh my
know.
gosh.
Well, maybe before the weird stuff started happening.
Yeah, well,
That-
yeah,
this is-
maybe.
Yeah, and so you know what? This company called Coldcast TV, which is not around anymore, but at the
Mhm.
time they wanted to get into the internet, and so they started their own platform. And to their credit, they fronted me enough to do the first 10 episodes. And all they wanted was basically, we'll front you. We want the exclusive, to be able to show it on our platform. I'm like, hey, that's great. If you, can help me make this, we can do it a little better. I ended up shooting it in an aircraft hangar, and we can rent the hangar. We can get some better cameras. We can do all this. So to their credit, Coldcast TV put up the money, and you'll still see their logo at the beginning, even though they're not with us anymore.
Yeah.
They kind of flamed out like a lot of platforms where they're like, we'll compete with YouTube. Sure you will. And so they got crushed because, it's a technology thing and discovery, and just they couldn't drive people to that platform. And I was able to keep the program. So once it was all over, hello, Tim.
Yes,
I know
he
Tim.
knows. He knows Tom Connors absolutely.
I do. Yeah, I know Tom.
Who
Connors.
was actually my guest last week.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I've never met him, but we've
Not
talked
personally,
back
yeah.
and forth. Yeah, for a couple of years. He's a great guy.
Which is funny because he's about an hour north of me, and we've never met. But
You've never
maybe
met.
one day. Maybe one day.
Yeah, so that's how it got created, and that's how I was able to make it and keep the rights to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then having it on YouTube so that you can share it the way you do.
Absolutely.
And as I always say, own
Own
physical
physical
media.
media.
Yes.
Okay? Because you never know. Just because you have free access to it now doesn't mean the channel will still be there tomorrow. I mean,
right.
Tom,
It'll disappear.
we've all had the problems that we have with YouTube. You just recently had some issues, and that's what kind of prompted me to see if maybe you'd like to come on my little channel and kind of
I appreciate that.
kind of reboot and whatnot.
Well, you know what I always say? It's like if you have it and you don't own it, somebody can just go by your library and go, boop, there you go, and then you go to look at it and you're like, what? Where? Like try.
You
and
listening,
find a
Boomer?
copy of a movie.
Listen.
I'm
what he's
listening.
saying. Okay.
Okay, Cocoon, Oscar-winning film.
Yeah.
It's on no platform whatsoever right now. You could not see it if you wanted to, if you didn't have it on physical media. The Great Race with Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis, nowhere. And stuff like that just drives me bananas because I might be in the mood for something and you go get it. So I made physical copies of it. The other little piece of trivia about that's pretty cool, and I should show you this actually.
Yeah.
Safety Geeks was the first live-action 3D television show in history.
Wow. Yeah, I did know about the 3D.
Yeah. We won. There we go.
Wait,
it was the first 3D episodic series in 2010. We shot it. Yeah, we shot it with stereographically, and exists, but it's no longer out because nobody has a 3D TV anymore.
Right. Well, Tom Connors does.
There is a Blu-ray in 3D.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that, even though I can't watch it in 3D.
there's only about 500 of them left in existence anywhere. I only have.
If it can be found, Netter will find it for me.
If you don't have one, I have 6 left. I can send you. Yeah, we had a company that was a 3D company. It was called DDD, and they helped me author it in 3D on a Blu-ray. So we were able to do like a 2K Blu-ray treatment on it, and it looked really good in 3D. Like I only saw it twice projected in 3D, and it was wild because you see all that violence and all the craziness. Like, it's so weird to see comedy in 3D. Like, you usually see spectacle in 3D or sci-fi, but to see a comedy in 3D is just weird because, like, the slapstick and all the stuff is happening.
I mean, and you have that scene. It was in your sizzle reel, and it was in my short where you're jumping out of the tower, and you're and I could just imagine that coming right at you.
Oh, man, yeah, it's crazy. Or the thing where the buckets keep hitting Dave on the head.
Right.
Really looks like it hurts more in 3D. So it just, to me, it was hilarious. And we have not seen anybody else do a live action 3D TV show because it just kind of flamed out as a technology. But to have the experience, Troy, to actually say we did a 3D TV series was just bizarre.
I mean, that is amazing.
We're indie. That's the only way we were able to do it, is we didn't answer to anybody. We're like, you know what? That's insane. Let's try it. Let's do it.
Tim Hayes is in here, and he was just telling me about another YouTube channel that he knows I really like. Michael French over at Retro Blasting. He does toy videos, and one of the things he says about the toy industry is the best toys right now are being made by the fans. Yeah, and it's true. I mean, between Etsy and 3D printing and stuff like that, and I've been saying for a long time, and then the way Aged Boomer and I met was, talking about the subject of comic skate and all that kind of stuff, and people going and leaving the industries they were in to go and do things independently, crowdfunding and so forth. And I said, we are now in an era, maybe a little bit with YouTube, but the independent filmmaker is just primed now. And I mean, you just totally exemplify that. I do want to be as sensitive as possible to your time and your empty stomach. So I figure we should probably get to the film, and we can continue talking through the film.
Oh, of course. Anything you would like to talk about, just let me know, or anyone in the chat. If you have any questions, hit me up. I'll try and kind of give you a running commentary. It's been a little while since I've seen it, so I can enjoy it.
There you go. Yeah. And right up at the top of the chat, you'll see the pinned comment. There's a link to the YouTube to Tom's channel, the video we're going to be watching. It's the collection of, I guess you'd call it the first season of the show, right?
Yeah, it's the first season that actually I think it works better as a sort of 55-minute piece because it was originally segments because when it was first created on the internet, they're like, people won't watch more than 3 minutes on YouTube. You know, so
which is what the Comedy Central does now, and the Adult Swim and everything.
It's gone completely back to it, but I feel like it was written as one giant piece, and then we broke it up with cliffhangers and fake bumpers and stuff in it. But I actually think it works as a cohesive thing.
It does.
Yeah.
And we will watch it that way tonight. But you subscribe to his channel, and you can see it broken up the way it originally was,
or as one piece, absolutely.
And if you get that Blu-ray, you can see it in 3D. So if you right click on that link at the top of the chat, open up another window or another tab. Keep us open so that you can hear the commentary, because that's what we're here for. We're here for this guy's commentary. That's what makes it great. And then you can always go back and listen to it, straight. But so what we're going to do is we're all going to, and I want us to do it this way because I want to give him, now that he's back on YouTube, I want to give him the watch time, So let's all tune in and watch together. So I'm going to go back to the old-fashioned way that we used to do this. I'm going to go count down 3, 2, 1, play. I'm going to hit play. We all hit play together, and then we'll start watching. Okay. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Play. And we jump right into it. We're right in the big box store.
So this, of course, I snuck into a bunch of Costco's to get this.
You snuck in.
Oh yeah, because you're not allowed to film in there. And so went in there and basically I knew what angles and stuff I kind of needed. I knew the basics of what I was going to shoot. So I shot from the perspective of what a camera would be looking at a person. And then I would layer the people into it. But it really gave it the production value. And it's an aesthetic choice to look weird anyway. I wanted it to have a cartoon look. I think we kind of integrated it pretty well, but it was never supposed to be like super realistic. One thing that's kind of cool about it is it's influenced by a real basically Darwin Award. It was about a guy who has a forklift, and he put it on another forklift and put it up to put something on a shelf, and naturally that forklift didn't hold it very well. And I thought, wouldn't it be funny if he just stayed up there?
Yeah. When I saw this for the first time, I was like, wait a minute, this really happened, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And it just the idea of this guy just being up there and having a normal conversation with people while he's pinned up on this forklift, was like, that was the genesis of this idea. And
I love the candle.
Yeah, he's very analog, and the fact that he's just putting these douches away he's just got huge boxes of douches that he's putting.
But that's the way it is in those big box stores,
Exactly. You're like, hey, you got to put the pumpkin scented douches up there.
I love that. The way he breaks the fourth wall. Uh-oh.
Yeah, uh-oh. And down he goes. And then the song I did with this guy, Michael Sherwood, I wanted it to be like The Who, because CSI always has a Who song. So we came up with this band called The Hoodles. And and the Hoodles did this song like basically it's a parody of Who Are You and a couple other things, but it's
yes,
like,
exactly.
You will get fooled again. Fool Are You is the name of the song.
I totally got that, yeah. And you were talking about the wigs. Yes. Brittany Powell here, who has beautiful blonde hair to begin with, is wearing a blonde wig.
Oh, that's funny.
I know,
and it's like, and it's obviously wig. It's like, I see what he's doing here. Maybe not everyone gets that, but I see it.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, that was hilarious. This guy, I went to this place that sold Halloween costumes, and this guy Paco is this kind of big Mexican guy, and he's getting these wigs down, and I found that wig for me that's like, it's basically a Jerry curl wig. I think, and I put it on, and you just see this guy, and I'm with Dave. Dave's like, hey, that was really good. That's really good. We're looking at it, and you just see this guy looking at me, and Paco's like, what the hell? How is that a good wig? You know, and I'm like, this is perfect. So he buys that Cupid doll wig that he has. I have
Yeah.
He's like, he goes, dude, I have to ask, like, what is this for? And I was like, oh yeah, this guy's like Spock and Jim Belushi or John Belushi, you know, combined. And this is his, you know, tight
Right.
hair to show like how rigid he is. He's like, he left the military to get more structure. So we bought that
Perfect.
wig, and once I had the wig on as an actor, the minute I'm in the outfit and the wig, the voice and the whole attitude comes. So the minute I put that wig on, I knew Budwin Yacker. I knew exactly how he was.
And the actress in the wheelchair, Mary Nieves?
Yes.
Okay.
Mary.
This is
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. You were going to say.
I was just going to say, Mary's the classic, you know, there's always a girl in a wheelchair or always sitting in a chair.
Yes.
You know what? Why not just have her in a desk chair that she moves around?
Right.
She's low to the ground, and he's such an idiot. He looks right over her and just slams the hell out of her knees.
Exactly. That physical gag is just brilliant.
Yeah, and her screams off camera are great.
And it's a great setup for what's about to happen here.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because of course, Brittany's character profiles people by giving them lap dances.
Which is bizarre. What a crazy superpower.
Yeah, I was thinking, you know, okay, her character would have to be one of these profilers, but let's say she was a stripper and she profiled people during the show and she would put them off so much that they would leave, and she's like, why do I never get tips?
Right.
So finally she becomes a professional profiler by doing lap dances.
Now talk about comparing to like Monty Python, the arms coming off and whatnot.
Oh yeah, the arms coming off, like Budwin. This is him as a child, and just how just, you know, scarred he is.
Yep.
By having these horrible things happen at a circus, and he's like, I don't like circus people or safety. You know, it's like, so he has these horrible flashbacks. He's like, hey, did you see that?
Right.
That's crazy. And so he has all of these flashbacks, and I remember the lady that we cast her little boy, this was like the first thing he ever did. And when they finally read the script, they were like, do what? And I'm like, yeah. I pulls the arm off, he screams, we have this whole thing. And I had to fake scream into his ear, you know, because I didn't want to blow this kid's ear out.
Right.
So I'm like sitting next to him going, and then I added my scream in later.
Right.
So he's just sitting there with me screaming in his ear. And I don't think this kid understood a thing that was going on.
Probably not. Not.
And then the infamous lap dance where she basically breaks down the character. And the payoff on this, Dave did it perfectly, where he's like, 50 says you can probe deeper.
Yeah, exactly. And I just got to say, you know, Brittany Powell, you know, beautiful blonde.
Yeah. Funny.
I totally have a type. You know, this one right over here.
Yeah. Oh, she was genetically designed to play these parts. Like she was perfect as the femme fatale in Trouble, and in this, she never got to just, you know, get off the chain and cut loose. And when she read it, it was just an instant understanding. She's like, I get it. Let's do it. It was never a time when I had to explain anything to her about it. She completely was in the headspace for it.
Yeah.
So it really was like the Three Musketeers. It was her and Dave and me just riffing off each other. And they were so good, it almost feels like it's improv, but all of it's scripted.
Talk about... So this is how you recognize talent, is all of you guys... You watch this and you see the humor and whatnot, and then you go and watch Trouble Is My Business and you go, whoa.
Totally. Yeah, totally different. Yeah, a good actor should be able to disappear. Like you're a chameleon. And when you dig the vibe of a story, you find that energy and you find that in the performance, and then you drop right in. Like if it's crazy and nuts like this and cartoony, then your head's in one place and you create a character. And then with Trouble, they might say witty things and funny things, but it's a serious noir kind of backdrop. And you know, everyone was classically trained. Dave, he studied in London. I mean, he's like
he puts on that accent so easily.
Yeah, he's great.
But so do you. So do you.
I do that a lot. I even got to perform with John Cleese, you know. So
if you go to Tom Konkle's IMDb page, that stinger reel with Sir John Cleese is up there to see. Yeah, check it out.
It was a lot of fun. It was a masterclass in comedy because I got into it through Python and Faulty Towers, and so being able to go toe to toe in a TV show with him, we did a 2-man sketch show about soccer, about the World Cup football, and we did 26 sketches together, and it was amazing. And I had to be a Brit. And it's the same, Brit that I play in like Invention with Brian Forbes, and I've played a Brit in a lot of stuff, and I've been really lucky to do that. I had a friend, one of my best friends when I was growing up was British, and I just picked up the accent. I picked it up from like C-3PO and Monty Python, and I perfected it. And eventually, like my best revenge was like going to the UK, performing or doing something, and they're like, "Where are you from, mate?" They have no idea, so that was great.
If you don't mind retelling the story again, the time you were mistaken for a Brit by someone who was British.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was some really funny times. Like one time, I did a show called Beyond the Fringe, and it originally was in Edinburgh. And one time after the show, this little old Scottish lady comes up to me and she's like, "I'm not quite sure where the subway is. Where did you take it?" And so in my regular American voice, I'm like, "Oh, actually, there's a subway stop 2 back." She goes, "Oh, lad, your American accent sucks."
I love it. Yes.
She's like, "Stick to what you know." And I'm like, "Well, thank you." Yeah. So that was pretty funny, actually.
She didn't realize it was kind of actually a compliment.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I guess that's good. Stick to what you know. It was funny. I love to do that, though. I love to disappear into those characters and those voices. I've been doing it since I was a little kid. My parents found a tape of me when I was 6, interviewing myself as all these different characters. And I'm like going back and forth, like spinning all this stuff. And they're like, "You never changed. You're still doing it."
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I have mentioned on this channel, talking with Boomer and whatnot, a lot about my opinion, and this is, I'm painting with broad strokes here, but I've said that I feel like British actors, in general, tend to be better, in my opinion, because they are usually classically trained.
Yes.
Right. Whereas there does seem to be this attitude in the United States of all I got to do is go to Hollywood and audition, and I could become a big star. And
exactly,
unfortunately,
I want to be a movie star.
Right, exactly. And
the plane. Do you see the plane there?
Oh,
Safety
yes.
Line, is that coming up?
Who did the 3D work
The
CG?
plane was designed by Michael Smith. He is my business partner at Luminactus. He was the co-producer on Trouble. He does VFX and design. He's a huge fan of trains, planes, automobiles. He loves to design stuff. So I had this idea for Safety One, which is this plane, wherever it lands, it has to destroy everything under it because it's Safety One. And so he came up with this Vertol flying wing that actually goes into the parking lot and destroys all this stuff. And I just loved it. It was ridiculous. It looks like something, you know those old History Channel things where they're like Nazi technology that was never developed. Yeah.
Well, except for the B-1 bomber
the stealth bomber. Yeah.
But that means that whole hangar was computer graphics.
Yeah, the whole hangar was designed by Mike. I had come up with the staging of how we had everything in it, and he knew exactly what was in my head. So we sat together.
Can I just say, wow? Just wow.
Yeah, wow.
I mean,
the answer is yes.
Yes.
Hello, lovely Sherry, by the way.
But go ahead.
No, I was just going to make a point about your actor comment, though. I feel like the older Hollywood actors were classically trained, though. At least a lot of them were.
The studios had a system where, one day you're learning tap dancing, the next day you're learning sword fighting, the next day you're doing that. What is degenerated now into everyone's their own little fiefdom, their own little business.
Yeah.
And they don't get that sort of broad training. And, I did live shows for 20 years, and that's where you hone your craft. And some people can become a star just like that, or be an influencer, and they're like, I got 1 million viewers, I'm going to be in a movie, and there's a different stagecraft to all that. You have to know how to listen to somebody else and not just talk at people.
Welcome, Zax. And I'm sorry I didn't say it earlier. I was involved with our guest here, Lady Mist. Welcome. I did see you a while back.
That's Betsy Baker we're crushing there, by the way. She's from the, I think, in the Evil Dead. Is she in Evil
Yes.
Dead? Yeah. She was a good sport. This is one of my favorite scenes where it's like, let's blend, and like everything.
This is one of those scenes where you look at it and you go, okay, I know it's all CG. It's not the best CG, but I get the shtick. It's not meant to be that good.
Well, it's supposed to look like a cartoon, like a living cartoon. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly, aged. It's supposed to be surreal and crazy because the look of it has to match the insanity of what we're saying. And and Dave doing physical stuff, and we had the best time. All of this was tightly scripted. We rehearsed it, but then we let it go and let it just seem loose and crazy and just on the fly.
And the one thing I wanted to mention is, seeing, you and Dave and Brittany and whatnot, and then seeing you together again in Trouble's My Business. I mean, you have a troupe. Is what it really is. And you don't see that as often. You see it with the people I most respect in Hollywood, like, for example, Quentin Tarantino. Yeah. He'll use the same people over and over again because he does too. Yeah. Yes, exactly. They've got a troupe. And so in my mind, it goes back to that, to the stage, right? Yeah. Where you'd have a troupe of actors and, after they did their run of Don Quixote, then they would go on and they do another play together, and they do another play.
Orson Welles did it with the Mercury Players.
Exactly.
Everybody, Angus Moorhead, all these different people that ended up in Citizen Kane and his other things, they all honed their craft doing, like, what are we doing today? Let's do this. Let's play. Let's do this. Let's stretch and do these characters. Safety Geeks is really an extended sketch troupe.
Yes.
It has the sketch comedy aesthetic. By the way, I love the idea that, how everything, they never turn on a light switch when they go investigate something. They always just bring their lights out and do it
right.
because it looks better. So we made a whole joke out of where he's like, I'm going to go turn off all the lights. Turns off all the lights.
Exactly.
People are like, turn the lights on. And then we really pushed it where it goes dark and literally you're not supposed to do this. Like, this freaked out every distributor, everybody. They're like, you can't have it dark for like a minute and nothing. I'm like, that's the whole point.
Yes, right here. There you go. I get it. Yeah.
It's like, where are you? I'm over here. You feel that? That's my restless leg. And it's like you can say,
which leads into a really good bit in just a minute here. There's a payoff too.
Yeah. And this is all in your mind. Like, you fill in all this stuff of like, these guys are standing in an empty, warehouse with the lights off, screaming at each other in this investigation. It's like, just turn on the light. Like, they purposely turned off the light.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
This happened in the horror movie Phantasm, where everything goes dark and you just hear sound for like a minute.
Oh, that's right.
And they said TV networks would cut and not show that part because they didn't realize, no, that's part of the movie.
Yeah, that just scare people. Yeah, exactly.
Which is an interesting thing. I think, Tom, you might have mentioned this in a stream one time, that that timing is so crucial to both horror and humor, and it's actually the same concept. If you can get humor right, you can get horror right, and vice versa.
It is. It's the most musical thing. It's the most rhythm-based thing. And I heard a psychological analysis of it that I thought was brilliant. I was like, humor is the building up of tension, or rather, horror is the building up of tension.
Right.
Humor is the release of the tension. But they each have a physical reaction to it.
Yes.
You jump or you laugh, but you're in that same part of the brain. I thought, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That is actually a perfect, if you can do comedy and horror, then you have that musical sense of rhythm and timing, and that's everything. And I think that's why often comedies and horror, the genre is the star. Like, you can have a horror movie and it doesn't have any A-list stars in it. The horror is the thing you're there to see. Or a comedy, you don't need a bunch of A-list names. If it's funny, it's funny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's and this is where I come. My training was in psychology and biology, and it's very interesting that horror and the reason people enjoy horror and humor is because the endorphins that are produced by both, and they're very similar.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah,
This is the bit. Yeah.
He's like, did he have his leg there the entire time? What's going on there? And then she gives him her business card, which
Yes, exactly. It's like, call me.
Like, hey, if your leg vibrates again, give me a call.
Right. Exactly. That smile is hi.
She was laughing so hard doing this. I was like, okay, stop laughing. We need to do this. So she was such a good sport. And the idea that, like, the place is devastated because the safety teams arrived.
Right.
Steve Tom, as the guy who runs the place, where he's like, oh, this melon. Yes, sir, it's horrible. I know.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And this, again, is just like, it's like an Adult Swim Naked Gun thing where there's the misunderstandings back and forth. He's Mr. Giant Provisions. I just like produce.
Well, let's face it. You point out a guy who doesn't like a good melon.
Who doesn't like a good, good grapefruit. And Steve Tom is wonderful. He is so dry and comic. Jim Woods is the guy who plays Chuck Batwanger, who is the manager. And they were on board to do all the weird physical stuff and all the just crazy dry humor they completely got. Yeah.
So, was all of this filmed in front of green screens?
Yes, everything was filmed in front. In fact, I dreamed in green for like 3 months after we finished. We painted everything green. It was like 30 feet of green by 20 feet of green, all lit with, I would have certain props and things that we knew we had to physically touch. The rest of it, I had to explain to everybody what was in the scene with them, what they were going to see.
Yeah.
It's very rare to have a whole thing be green screen like this. It's weird to do it that way, but we had to. And in a weird way, it freed me up to really concentrate on the weird, things that are going on in our faces and the comedy, because I didn't have to worry about the location.
Sure. And that's another great thing about, having a troupe that, is doing stuff over and over again, because now they've got to be kind of used to this. Yeah, I mean, same thing, actually, which I didn't even realize first viewing with Trouble Is My Business. Mm-hmm. So much green screen there, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, we had to build out stuff that, didn't exist, or, it's set in the 40s, the outside doesn't look right, inside you've got the wrong plugs and wrong lights and everything, so every shot in Trouble is a visual effects shot.
I'll tell you, you have the gag shots here with the cars and whatnot that obviously look cartoonish.
Yes.
Nothing like that gives it away in Trouble Is My Business.
Yeah, we went for much more realistic feel. And I'm always really grateful when somebody's like, man, I didn't realize that was, not what it was. Or
exactly.
To me, that's like building a world. And it was really ambitious to build a world, in the 40s and try and make it look like a real black and white noir.
Exactly.
So I was really glad. And this, wasn't supposed to look real. It's supposed to look crazy, but it still required a lot of discipline to film it. Like this flashback scene has so many layers in it. And I love this guy, Ben Wang. Ben Wang played the safety monk. You'll notice they're all in safety orange, including him when he's learning from him. He's like, I will give you an example, and he's got the scissors, and he's like, I don't understand the lesson. He's like, is it me? Am I the only one? Does this guy not get this?
Real quick, I do want to mention Matanui. The fact is, this is one of those times where you can come back and watch later. The link will still be up there.
Yes.
And you can still benefit from it. So, come back later if you want to. That's fine.
Take a look. Yeah, absolutely.
That is grisly. Now, did he actually have to, hang up for long periods of time?
We had I had a makeup artist rig up the scissors at first. After I explained what I wanted, she's like, okay, and then just do that. And she had a wire rig to keep them in place and gelatin and stuff. And the poor guy had to keep his head perfectly balanced and deliver all the lines. And I fed him the lines, and we did all the stuff from that.
Sure.
Couldn't see a thing. Yeah,
here it is. Yeah. That has to look great in 3D.
It does. It sticks out at you. It's amazing.
Speaking of sticking out at you.
Yeah,
sorry.
You have to duck when she turns around.
Right? That wig, though, I just can't stop laughing at that.
I know, me too. We have this whole subgenre of wig acting. It's like we got to do some wig acting, and that really comes out of my sketch background. And I just wanted it to look weird and off. And,
It did, yes, exactly.
Wig on, it's like changes you, and the fact she's blonde and has a blonde wig, and he has this Cupid doll wig, and all these weird sort of character things that they have make them almost like the Thunderbirds. You know, it's almost like the old.
Yes, I get that. Yeah. Was there ever a moment where Brittany was like, "Why am I wearing a wig?"
No, she was
no.
like,
She got it.
Wear this wig. She's like, "Of course I do." That was it. Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
She really is keyed in then. Yeah.
She knew exactly what we were doing, and we did some rehearsal stuff and everything in the costumes. And the minute she was in it, she's like, I love this. This is ridiculous." The fact she's in a business suit that looks like a stripper's outfit literally encapsulates her character, because that's her whole modus operandi. She's
Right,
like
right, exactly.
Stripper / profiler.
No, absolutely brilliant.
It's funny you were mentioning these CSI references, and it's still happening on modern TV.
Oh,
yes,
absolutely. Ransford plays the guy Pierce Johnson. His name's Ransford Doherty, who plays him. He was a good sport too, because he was up in a harness up there. I would imagine, yeah. That thing and be, delivering all his lines, and I would bring in the people that were talking to him and doing his thing, but he had to sell that thing through his chest the entire show.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's like, I get it. One of my favorite scenes is I wrote the scene where his mama comes over. And
yep, that's coming up, right.
Take this brick out and hit you with it. And it's like, but it's in your purse. What are you talking? His comic timing was fantastic too.
I wonder, they had to have reactions when they finally saw it, because when he's up there and he's got the vomit coming out of his mouth and the blood coming out of his chest, that's not happening as he's doing the lines.
He knew that I was going to do that, and I sort of sold the, stuff that he would do. But yeah, the first time I watched it with cast and crew, it was like I had never seen it before. Because there were laughs there that I had kind of forgotten. There were little moments that everybody had, like little grace notes to it. Comedy is like music, and there was little grace notes to everything where people were like, "Oh man, Konkle, I didn't know. I knew you were doing that." So you got to watch it from the outside and enjoy it over again with everybody that made it. That was kind of fun.
I'll tell you what, the sweat on his face, that really sells it. It's like, would someone get him down, please?
I'm kind of losing consciousness here.
Right. I can't feel my legs.
Profiling him, yeah. How do you feel? How do I feel? I feel pain. And she wants to profile him psychologically.
Right.
And again, this was great because we were having to do it in segments, so we were selling the fact that we were talking to him, and often he had gone home, or he wasn't there for us to bounce off of. So we would have to imagine him performing it while we were doing it. So that was a challenge. Yeah, I
would imagine so.
One of the few lines ever improv is at the end is when I bring in my ball sack. At the very end, it was like, for that, it's like when his balls drop off there, put him in this baggie, this is my ball sack. I did not tell him I was going to say that. When I said it, the cut in this is 1 second before they both lost it and fell.
I can imagine, yeah.
They had no idea I was going to say that. I was like, this is my ball sack.
Another little thing, David wearing that ascot, that just... That does it. That establishes his character. That little thing,
That little ascot Dickie thing that he has. We were thinking of old Roger Moore shows and the Persuaders and all that.
Right.
And you're right. One piece of costume can say everything you need to say about a character. It becomes iconic. It's like he's this guy. He made money by inventing the backspace key on a computer and never worked again. So he's like, I invented the backspace key. Now I want to be an expert in safety. And so he's an idiot he's the kind of guy we have to tolerate because they have money.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
He starts this team and he has a mission, but it's like, oh my God, you're insane. And there's the cheat. You see the cheat.
See, and what he does, I can't see this and not believe it was improv. I know you're saying it's not, but I look at this and I'm going, he had to be making this up on the spot.
Nope. Well, we sat and wrote it for about 2 months, and came up with all the bits. You know, there was.
Somebody help me, please help me.
Yeah, please. Just, is there anyone out there that's not insane? Yeah. He really nailed it with the physical humor. We wanted him to be very action prone. You know, we had Inspector Clouseau in our head and all these different things. So Dave and I worked out a bunch of great bits, and he's such a pro. He's so funny. You know, and I've worked with him, 20 years. I can look over at him and I know he needs a little extra room. He needs a little space. He needs to set up. He needs this, because we can just look at each other and read it. And so, we feel like a classic comedy team because we just know each other's bag of tricks.
Yeah, I mean, and I have to imagine that's the upside of having a troupe.
Yeah, it is. You get to know. It's like having a band. You get to know each other's rhythms and beats and what your bag of tricks is. And he's great.
Look, Jay, if you want to jump in and see where we're at, right click on the link at the top of the chat, and then let us know you need a timestamp. We'll let you know where we're at so you can watch along with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, the link's always going to be there. You can always, anytime you want, watch and hear the commentary. But trust me, it's worth it.
And music and sound's a big part of this too. Not only did we have the like the Who song at the beginning, but there's wall-to-wall music that actually I did the music in this.
I saw that. Yes. Yeah. I was, it was half a joke when I said, the star, the producer, the writer, but the fact is you read the credits and it's like, wow, music too.
Yeah, there's a lot.
You're John Carpenter.
yeah. I'm a huge fan of Carpenter. Actually, when I was a kid, I was blown away when I found out that he did the Halloween theme and everything. I was like, I do that. This is, I love that. I loved coming up with music. There's a lot of like audio jokes in this, as the voices and sound effects, or when she floats in as like as the vision and stuff. There's all this sound stuff going on, and because it's an internet series, you could just sit and work it out yourself and come up with it. So it's kind of it's fun that it's not filtered through anything else. I was like, what? I would like to try it. I wanna do it. I played piano since I was 10 years old. So I was able to find all these samples and come up with music, and it was a blast.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about your musical background.
Yeah, I played piano for a very long time. I didn't bring my piano with me when I moved to LA, so I missed it. So I didn't have a piano for almost 15 years.
Wow.
But then I finally got one, and I got back into it, and I got a keyboard and all the sounds and stuff. And so I still do a lot of the music in the Mindstream stuff. A lot of that background music and everything. I'm a big fan, and I'm huge into film composers, and a couple of my friends are great composers.
I wish I'd kept up with my music. I played the trombone.
Oh, you play trombone? Yeah.
But it's been 40 years. My embouchure, there's no way I could.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I kiss Nanette a lot, but it hasn't kept my embouchure up. It just
that's a different muscle set, right?
Yeah, exactly.
These scenes with Mark too really were kind of very Mel Brooks, where he's like tearing up the paper and looking.
I get the Mel Brooks.
It's like I felt like he was Harvey Korman, and I sort of like, and the timing between the two of us was great, and such a great character that he came in with. We basically were making fun of CSI Miami.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, taking the glasses off and doing all the things, but he meant it. He believed it. And the fact that he's just this irritated guy was just perfect for a foil for them. Where he's like, I'm not trying to kill anybody, just fine,
You mentioned Harvey Korman. That makes me. Were there a lot of really good outtakes on this?
There are some great outtakes on it where we just lost it. Like there was times where there's the whole sweaty butt print thing where I had to get through it, telling Brittany that I have one. And I could not get people to stop laughing when I'd be like, the proportional camel toe was approximately 12 inches across. And they're like, proportional camel toe?
Yes, I love that
There
one.
were certain lines that
I've never heard those two words before.
I had never put them together until I wrote them, and I went, I have to say these.
And folks, I got to tell you, everybody who's still here with us watching, you're going to want to come back and watch this again. Watch it without the commentary, and then watch it again with the commentary.
Yeah, there's so many things to my character, Budwin Yacker. He's their safety expert. He's very repressed, but there are so many times that I wanted his character to express things in this really dry way that you have to keep a straight face.
Yeah.
But I'll be like, I had them on my taint, the area between my scrotum and my anus. And I have to keep a straight face. And so you can imagine there are a few takes there.
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah, and I love doing stuff like that where he's desperately trying to explain things to people. He really wants to be understood, but the stuff that he's saying is so ridiculous.
And Tom, you remember I mentioned that other that toy channel that I really, really enjoy, Michael French. This is him. Retro Blasting stopped in to say hi.
Oh, great. Retro Blasting. Thanks for stopping.
Absolutely. Michael, you will want to check out Tom Konkle's channel, subscribe to it, check out Safety Geeks. The link is at the top of the chat, and check out Trouble Is My Business, which is also on his channel.
Yeah.
Two very, very different shows, but both are in your wheelhouse, Michael. So this is humor, obviously, and Trouble Is My Business is noir. Yeah. And you will love it.
Yeah, you don't do, I don't do just one thing. I like many different genres. I like science fiction, I like noir, action, I like comedy. It's difficult to get people to stop pigeonholing you. It's like, just because you're good at one thing. I think some of the best dramatic actors were comic actors.
Yes.
And so for me, it's like it's just a different discipline. It's a different tools, different place that you play, but the tools are the same.
And here's the scene we were talking about earlier where Mama shows up. Let me tell you something. This has an added dimension if you've ever been in a church with a lot of African American influence.
Yes. She's such a great character and a force of nature. She comes in and she's basically mad at him for getting injured and messing up. Mama was going to get her hair done, and now she's got to deal with him. And she's got a brick in her purse. She's like, I have a mind to take this brick out of my purse and hit you with it. But she's hitting him with the purse anyway.
The best is, you look like Jesus up there. You blaspheming!
Again. Yeah. I love it. And the whole idea of him calling Mama saying, come, I might be hypothetically dying or something.
Hypothetically, this is, less chance of me to see me.
And in the background, you'll notice she's getting different weapons behind over his shoulder. She has like a battle axe. She's swinging all these. I ever have a sword. All these different things. So there's all these weird things that are going on, feathered in on the background.
The interesting thing, though, is the subtext is, regardless of the circumstance, even though he might be dying right now, discipline's still important. You still got to be godly.
That's right, and don't take the Lord's name in vain, or you will suffer up there.
Amen. That's how Netter would be. So I get it.
Exactly, and she's like, you're Gimpy, my husband. He used to go. I have to say goodbye 3 times before he left the room because Gimpy'd go around in a circle. So I love stuff like that. And Laura Hayes, who did it, her audition was so perfect. There wasn't a question of anybody else that I would get. She was like, who wrote this? And I was like, I did. She's like, oh my God, I love this. And she launched into it, and I was like, you're it. Yeah.
Tom, you just made me think of a question that I've been wanting to ask for a long time. So when you are doing auditions, okay, and you find this is the person. Right. Do you stop or do you keep auditioning?
You keep going, because sometimes the part that someone came in for isn't right for them, but another part is.
That makes sense. Okay.
The way that we found Chuck Batwanger, who was the manager guy, he had come in for another part.
I didn't realize his last name was
Batwanger. Yeah,
because you see Chuck on his lapel there.
Chuck Batwanger, and he ends up Ground Chuck, and so he came in for a different part, and he read so well that I was like, "Hey, would you mind waiting?" Because it was like a real casting session, so we had people in the lobby, and I said, "Take this page out, and look it over." And I know how it feels to audition because I've done, hundreds of auditions, and I was like, take your time, look it over, but trust me, I think you'd be right for this other part. Could you please come back in with this? And he's like, yeah, okay, I'd be happy to. And he nailed that other part. So the wisdom from this is don't stop just because you found one part, because the gold might be that you find somebody else who didn't even know they were good for a different part.
Right, exactly.
Something that was in their wheelhouse.
And if you read the trivia section in most IMDb listings, you'll see so many times so-and-so came in and auditioned for the role of such and such, but, they were perfect for, whatever.
Yeah, or someone gave another person a ride and they're like, hey, why don't you audition too? And they book it.
Right.
It's like, well, I just gave him a ride here. I didn't.
Or even the story of Harrison Ford, and how
their furniture. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
Michael from Retro Blasting is kind of echoing what we were talking about earlier, the connection between horror and comedy. He's saying comedians are always great at drama because comedy is tougher to land than drama. I can prove it. Compare the number of people in society that bring drama to your doorstep and those who make you laugh. He's got a point there.
Great point, Retro. You don't see comedy breaking out in the streets. Yeah. and that's
at least not a
really good point, because
can I just say this is my favorite scene in the whole show?
Her whole backstory of profiling people.
Netter's like, yeah, of course it is.
Profiling people and doing the fan dance scene.
Yeah.
And then I love Benton Jennings is playing the butler. And he's explaining her background completely dry while she's undulating behind him, which is perfectly her character, because you can imagine her like profiling somebody and doing it and going, why isn't anyone taking me seriously?
The one thing that I struggle with in a scene like this is because of, Netter and I and all the cosplay that we do. I see what she's wearing, and it's hard to see it sexy because I just think of how uncomfortable it's got to be.
And the sounds that it makes.
Yes! Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, she did not enjoy that as much as you might think, especially under hot lights.
No, I would imagine. I have no doubt she did not enjoy that. But
she had to do it for like 2 hours.
The fact that she does her scene so well is a credit to, pushing through it.
Yeah, and it was hot, and she was tired, and I think we did it at, it's probably 8 or 9 at night by the time we got to that scene, so she was definitely a trooper, and then Benton doing that whole delivery straight in front of it, and then the reaction from the other girl, it's like, she's a wackadoo. It's great. It's such a great scene, and then I really love that in one scene, you totally get this screwball character where you're like, of course.
Yeah, I love that. Scott Westbrook, welcome. And again, just to you and everybody who's come in late, if you want to click that link at the top of the chat and then let us know if you need a timestamp so you can watch along with us. Ooh. Was that was CG, wasn't it?
That had to be CG. I tried to get a real one to stick on there, but it wouldn't. And then
that's hard.
The idea was like, in my hands, this could be as a lethal weapon. He's like, well, so would anything be, And it's like, and then he ends up putting him into the meat grinder. He's Ground Chuck, and he's like, I'll keep an eye on you, and he doesn't. It just says everything about this safety team being the most dangerous. They make everything worse. Let's face it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and great physical comedy from them. That was hard to do, hard to sell him pitching into that thing and make it work. And to Dave's credit, he hit all the beats. And then we had to have a joke making fun of branded entertainment, because there's always like a plug in the middle of it. So the next scene where they're looking at the seat. You know, we have this like obligatory branded entertainment, and then there's always a scene in these investigation things where they go through the trash, and in 5 minutes they find the one piece of evidence they need.
Right.
And there it is.
Montage.
So, yeah, we made it the sweaty butt print scene. The posterior scan. This was fun to shoot because all these weird little pieces all adding up, and I kind of put some music under it that's the techno music they always have. And we have this posterior scan system that comes up, and then
enhance.
Exactly. And it's like the whole scene basically comes down to, this was an enormous butt in this chair that shouldn't have been here. And it's just Dave and I playing off each other. In comedy, you can play it what we call a two-shot. You know, it's just the two of us there. You don't use editing to manipulate the timing. We just let it play out in between the two of us. Our timing, looking at each other, going back and forth and everything, had to happen in front of the camera. It's not artificial, you know, and I tried to make it happen that way a lot in this show.
And I have to imagine, again, that's the fact that you guys know each other.
Yep.
You guys are a
we
troupe,
know these characters.
You know?
Yeah. We knew it backwards and forwards. We knew where the beats were and everything. We were just having fun with it, trying to make ourselves laugh. Sweaty butt print.
We're one cheek away from solving
One
this
cheek
mystery.
away from solving this thing.
Except me, obviously.
Except for me, obviously. This was fun too, just like the whole interrogation thing, and like I had Peter Sellers in my head and a bunch of other people where I was like, I just want to let go, and just, this guy is all about being right and being authority, but being really maladjusted and trying to, you know, be an expert and know what he's doing when he really is clueless, you know.
Yes, exactly.
Everybody had their own character. They were doing stuff in the background, and everybody kind of brought their A game. So just the making the faces they're making were just amazing.
I mean, and something as simple as just the way the tie is like just tied up to the neck, you know.
Yeah, right up, tied up there. It's a clip-on tie.
Didn't even realize.
Didn't it? Yeah, didn't have that. You found that shirt. It's like a 1970s shirt, but it was safety orange, and I was like, you know what? He'd wear a safety orange shirt. And then I have that kid's device, which would be his tablet, you know, that he's doing safety things on it. I found it at a thrift store for like $3.
Yeah, that's funny too. Yeah,
and it's so him though that you're like, is this technology from another planet? What is that?
Doing a scan of people's butts.
Yes. The butt scanner. And of course, one guy always gives himself away. It was the cheese. And he's off. And then
which is a payoff. You set that up at the beginning, you know?
We set it up 47 minutes ago that there was some cheese involved. And the fact that it's cheesy. And then I wanted to have the worst slow motion chase ever.
Yeah.
So 2 forklifts going about 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And the other guy's like, hey, can I just walk up there and take his key? No, I'm after him. I'm almost got to him.
When I saw this, I thought of that scene in Austin Powers.
Yes.
Yeah, you know?
Steamroller,
yeah, exactly.
No! And it's like miles off.
I'd be curious, what year was that? Because I'd be curious whether we did it first or he did it first.
Oh, I
when
could.
was that? I don't know.
I'm going to have to rely on deleted scenes to look it up because I can't remember.
I don't remember which movie that was
Austin
in.
Powers, what year was that?
We shot this in 2009.
2009?
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe he was...
But to be fair, that's not a chase scene. That's just a guy getting run over.
Well, yes, but the timing concept, same thing.
Yeah, the idea of the slow-mo...
It's that whole trope, and it drives Netter up the wall when we watch movies.
May 2nd.
97, okay.
Okay, 97, so way before, yeah.
So Netter gets bent out of shape every single time there's, you know, you look up and something's falling at you. It's like, step away! Get out of the way! Why do you sit there and wait to die?
Yeah, why? Yeah, and we have that moment where he screams and just plows into all the boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Do that, yeah. a ton of these are so dry that they're making.
And this guy's walking as fast
Yeah.
as he's driving
Yeah,
until he
he's
gets his foot run over.
Yeah, he's having a normal conversation. And yeah, there's so many dry, subtle little things that we put in it where it's like it seems like it's nothing but just the tropes and all the
Yes!
obvious, but it's like we're making fun of every single one of those beats. And Frank Payne, he was great. What a trooper. He was a stand-up guy. He did a bunch of stand-up comedy and stuff, but loved sketch. And so we asked him to be the guy, you know, ultimately the one that they find out he was the other person on the forklift that lifted him up that didn't want to get caught. And I love his little thing about pumpkin scented douches at the beginning because it says everything.
Yes.
It's like you gotta have
So-
pumpkin douches.
They were driving. There was a real forklift, right, that they were sitting in?
No, it was
No?
no, it was a seat and then the steering wheel. Everything else was built around.
I had no idea. I assumed there was like one forklift and you'd film one and then the other
Nope.
person would get into it.
I
Okay.
couldn't get a forklift. I filmed this in a private plane aircraft hangar, and we had the seat. We've got a seat from a junkyard, and then we had the steering wheel because he physically touches it, but it didn't
Yeah.
even move. It was on boxes, so it didn't even have wheels.
I had no idea. I had no idea.
That's a credit to to us putting it together, the actor selling it, and then Mike Mike Smith.
Ooh, just runs over the person. It's like I'm watching a Gray Still Plays, doing games
Like,
here.
there's a guy standing. Oops. Okay.
Oh
There's-
yeah, let's run him over.
He ends up being the logo at the end in a car too. That
Yeah.
guy, the guy that got hit. And I love he's like, hey, take him away, boys. And then these two girls come in to take him. He's like, yeah, I can go with them.
So one other comment I want to make about the wigs and the costuming and stuff like that. When Netter looked at the cover of the video, she's like, I can't tell which one's Tom.
That's the best compliment I can.
Right?
She goes, that's Tom, and be like, oh my god, is that what I
She
look
did. She's like, I thought that might be, but I wasn't sure.
like? That's funny. Yeah, that's me, the Spock Belushi, right there.
The Spock Belushi. Yes. Yes, exactly.
That's totally me. Totally me. And I love the wrap up of this too, where they call back about it, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll have to take care of you can release the ambulances now. The emergency." It's like, wait, you were holding emergency help?
Yes, exactly.
And this was tough to put together because she's speaking, to her on a monitor. We had to get the monitor and all the stuff in there, and they weren't talking to each other, so they were shot different days apart. And it worked really well that they, their chemistry worked perfectly.
Deleted scenes. Can I be arrested next?
Yeah, just take me away. One of those cops was my nanny, by the way.
Wow.
Not my nanny, my son's nanny. But
Oh,
yeah,
I
No, I get what you mean. Yeah,
you got it. But yeah, she was a good sport. I was like, "Do you want to be in this since you're watching my kid?" Yeah, okay.
Yeah, whatever. I got nothing else going on.
Hilarious.
Wow. Just wow.
Yeah. Well, what I love about this aesthetic is because you can go Adult Swim and Monty Python and stuff
Yeah.
like that, silly, you can go so exaggerated and you can offend everybody. You can be very sexual. You can be very funny. But at the end of the day, we created these characters that actually they have personalities and they have there's a point. Like this whole thing is basically a loving jab at all of those things about teams. That investigate things all the way back to the Thunderbirds, to all these squads that would come in and like investigate a mystery or something. We basically just took it and just put it in a blender and said, you know what, let's be true to that, but at the same time, let's come up with these really strange, distinct characters that ultimately they only get along with themselves, like they're like a family.
Somebody help me?
Can somebody please help me? Like,
I don't know. I see cops showing up dressed like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're real cops.
You're like, wait a minute. what's the? I guess it was warm in there. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fact that they keep backing it up and trying to get it just right, re-stabbing him over and over again, and then he gets fined, of course, for a safety violation because of reasons. And I love the dialogue in this scene between Ransford and Dave and myself, where he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to feel anything. Don't worry. You know, you'll probably be paralyzed. I wouldn't worry about it. You'll feel everything back at the hospital."
Right.
And he slaps a fine on him. There's always that retribution, the wrap up at the end.
$400.
Maybe you'll think twice about doing this again, if you ever walk again, that is. Oh, this was so much fun doing. This scene was towards the end of the shoot, because we almost shot kind of chronologically, so by this time we knew each other really well. Like Ransford and I had become friends, and we just bounced off each other, and he was just so perfect as the just poor befuddled guy who kept doing the things like, "Yeah, I can't feel my legs. This is going to feel great."
He's like, "No, wait, Tom, I really can't feel my legs. I've been hanging in that harness all this time.
I've been laying in the harness all day, but this is great." And again, we layered some stuff in the background where, you know, the cops are loitering and stuff. That was all added later of them.
Oh, I get it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
They weren't actually in that scene with them.
Sure.
All that stuff separate, and I knew I was going to have them in the background and just kind of play with what was going on in the back.
Hey, Bill, welcome.
Hey, thank you for watching. And
Absolutely.
Thanks to everybody in the chat too for
and please, even if you came in late, you're gonna want to check out that link at the top of the chat. Check out this comedy. It's a lot of fun. You're gonna enjoy it. Wow, I'd forgotten about this scene.
We had some other ideas for more. I love that the caution tape is electrified, so no one will touch it.
Right. And the cop is the one that gets zapped.
Exactly. And of course, Posh headquarters, there's a different establishing shot because it's a secret. Of course, we're not going to show where it really is. So there's always a different thing every time we showed it. And then this end wrap up was just a blast. You can see a guy working on the jet in the background, way in the distance. It's little details like that, and then the way we just play off each other, and then I get to drop an F-bomb at the end of it, which was great. And they lost it like seconds after this scene, and that was the one we kept. I think this was literally the first or second take, and it was like, that's it, we're done, we're out of here. We had other ideas for more episodes. Had Coldcast stayed around, you know, the platform that originally kind of fronted some money, and this premiered on their platform before it was on YouTube. Had they been able to continue, we had some great ideas for more episodes, because think of all the Darwin Award type accidents or all the safety. We were going to open it up where people could suggest an accident, you know, suggest something ridiculous.
That would be great. Yeah,
that would have been great. And we even did a pinup calendar, like an old style, you know, school Vargas pinup calendar of safety things with Brittany as the pinup model in it. We had
no. I want to see you and Dave in a couple of them too.
We're in it too. But yeah, we had so many ideas for it, and it was a blast being able to do it. And then to recap everything, we did an instrumental version of that Who Song parody. And sort of recapped all the different moments from it, and this
whole season still makes a great pilot episode. You know,
it would be a great pilot for like an Adult Swim, like an Archer type show. You know, with real people instead of animation. I would love to do something like that.
Any chance of like a season 2?
If somebody wants to help us finance it, yes.
Yeah, that's the deal, right?
Yeah, I can't do it for free, but hey, we've monetized the YouTube channel. So
I was just going to say, what about like a crowdfund kind of situation?
I might do that. You know, we could definitely crowdfund it if there's enough interest. People are like, I dig it. The good thing about it is, unlike a lot of crowdfunding where you're not sure how it's going to turn out or what it's going to be, we could say
you've got this as an example. Here's the first season. Help us with the second season.
Yeah, it's like buy the ticket when I need the money, which is to make it. You know, if you buy the ticket now in crowdfunding, you know we have the resources, we can go make the thing.
I mean, Tom, talk to them and ask them if they'd be up for it. And I'd be happy to do everything I could to promote it, and
that'd be great. Yeah, I'd love to. We have a next one called Code Green. It was Safety Geeks Code Green.
Oh, mystery meat.
Yeah, Chuck. There's Chuck Batwanger. He's now ground check. Oh, fuck, Chuck.
Oh, yikes!
And there's the guy who got run over. That's our logo. So yeah, that's it. And then that's the old stereo 3D logo.
Pithy Productions. I love it.
Yep, short and pithy. That's what they used to tell us. It has to be short and pithy. So that was the old 3D logo at the end. I folded that company, but Luminactus, the company that ultimately ended up being my production company now, was started as a 3D company to do 3D stuff.
I mean, I don't even know technically what goes into creating a 3D.
It's a lot of work, yeah.
I would imagine.
All the separation, you basically have a stereographer, somebody who determines the depth and all the different visual cues that you have on it, and it's tough.
Is it like in the 80s where you got to literally have two cameras next to each other and stuff?
Yeah. You take you're getting one image slightly offset from the other, and then your brain is combining them. So a true stereographer has the two cameras set and primed. One is getting an image in one direction, one's getting another, and then it's recombined in your brain. There is a post conversion for 3D where they literally cut out the images and put them at different distances to create 3D, and that's even harder because as you can imagine, that's really labor intensive. But yeah, it's an art unto itself, and doing comedy that way is even harder because when you're hitting people and doing all that stuff, you have to have that separation to do it, and you have to think about it while you're doing it because you can tell, it's like you can tell that there's a distance there in 3D that you could cheat in 2D.
Right.
So it was tough, and the only reason we did it was to make it different and to try and differentiate it from everything else that was out there. It was an experiment. I think it works in 2D or 3D, but it was kind of fun that by the nature of us being in front of artificial backgrounds, it lent itself to 3D comedy. And it was the first 3D live action comedy, which is kind of a cool little wiki note,
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because with comedy you can get away with gimmicky.
Yeah.
If you're doing like, I don't know, say like an action film or something. I mean, I don't know if anyone else that's listening right now has ever seen this film, but there was a film back in the 80s called Treasure of the Four Crowns. It was kind of an Indiana Jones kind of...
Oh, yeah. It came out around the time Coming at You. Remember that?
Yes!
Yeah.
And it was during that 80s era, Jaws 3D and Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D. Yep. And honestly, it was the best 3D I ever saw. I mean, I'm guessing if I were to watch the movie now, it might not hold up in 2D, but there was like a scene where the hero is being held down and the villain like has this hot poker and he points it right at the camera, and you literally, my eyes crossed in the theater, and you could see the smoke coming up right in front of your eyes, and I'm like, holy cow, I mean, that's not what 3D is now, though. You go to see like Dune in 3D or something. It's not. It's more like a picture box where it comes as far as the screen, and it goes back, but it doesn't come right up to your nose.
That's right. It's more proscenium style, where it's here. And it goes to screen depth and back, but it doesn't really poke out much. There is one shot in the first Avatar that pokes out, which is the laser beam when he wakes up. That laser comes out and hovers out over the audience, and that's really tough to do because it's hard to get converging on your eye that distance from it. But there's a whole mathematics to it. It's like a different language you have to think. Like, you can't move too much in 3D. You have to give people a break. You can't snap zoom. You can't cut too fast in 3D because your brain's going, wait, I wouldn't be here and then here without anything in the middle. It's like you have to pan. You have to take your time. So there's a whole other visual language to it that you did have to think about. And first and foremost, I just wanted to make a funny show that was just weird and had that aesthetic. But when you're doing it in 3D, you have to go, okay, slow your roll. You can't be like whipping around and doing all these different things too much because your brain can't process it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going to say, leave it to deleted scenes to be the one person that remembers Treasure of the Four Crowns. But then I see that Tim Hayes actually owns the Blu-ray of Treasure of the Four Crowns. So I guess I'm not as off as I thought. Or maybe I just attract the right crowd that,
You got the right people. These are our people.
Exactly, right?
We don't have to please everybody, just enough people, right?
Exactly. That's why I like to share the things that I love with these people, because I know that if I'm sharing something they don't know about, they'll dig it,
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I like. You shine a light on stuff, and it's always appreciated. Like a guy like me, I'm out here, I'm throwing spaghetti on the wall sometimes, I'm throwing darts, I'm making stuff, and I just want people to enjoy it, and I want to be discovered. But the hardest thing is being discovered and found and getting the word out and finding your people. And once you do, and you're like, hey, I like what you're doing, it makes me want to do more stuff. And it has to sustain. It has to be a sustainable thing. So half of my time is like looking for money. Half the time is convincing people you can do it. Half the time is promoting it to let people know that it exists. Because I always say, it's like, if you build it, they won't come.
That's true. That's true, because it's not just building it. You've also got to market it. That's been my biggest problem. I get so many people that say, gosh, I love Friday night, last call and everything. You should be like the biggest YouTuber. And it's like, I'm no good at marketing. I don't know how to get the word out. It's up to you guys if you want to make me a success.
I'm like you. I'm forcing myself to learn it. Over the last 10 years, I've gotten a little better at it, but I'm still learning, and there's part of me that has a hard time, like, hey, look at my stuff. It's hard for me to do that, but I realize you have to, because there's nobody else. No one else cares. You've got to get your stuff out there and make it. And I love making stuff and coming up with stuff. And I love acting and directing and writing, but no one's going to give me permission. It's like I have to go and do it and say, all right, I'm throwing it out here. Hopefully some people like it and I can make some more stuff. Everything.
And I feel like in this modern era, it's like it's also got to be, and if you don't like it, I don't care. I'm still going to do my thing.
Right. Exactly. And you'll find people that like it and agree with it. It's a big mistake to go, I'm going to make something that everybody likes. It's like, that doesn't exist. Or if you do, it's crap. Yeah. And it's not something you really are proud of or you want to see. I'd much rather do something where like a core group of people are like, I like it, I dig it, I got it. This is what I love.
I think about people like Quentin Tarantino, or like David Lynch. Yep. Not everybody understands it, not everybody gets it, but the ones that do, they're in like Flynn, no doubt about it.
He loves what he does. He keeps doing it, and he's found enough people around him that believe in him that he's self-sustaining. My dream would be, have somebody like you as a fan. I have an idea on Monday, and the resources come in that the next week we're making it. And like there's money there, and people like, hey, I want to see it. I know I can do it. I can execute. I've got tons of ideas. It's just finding resources and access.
Well, I think that you have, I don't know all of your fans, but me and Ned are going to support just about anything you do, right?
And I appreciate it.
And if you do a crowdfund, we'll get behind it. We'll back it. We'll do whatever we can to get other people in on it and whatnot. But that's a future plan. You wanna let people know what you got. You actually have in the pipeline right now.
Yeah, I just released another Mindstream Players recently, another episode of the Reasonably Amazing Adventures of.
Again, that link is below. Make sure you're subscribed to The Real Deal with Tom Konkle.
And I've been doing some voice work. I'm about to do a character in an animated series, which I will be able to tell you about after we record it.
Understood.
To do that, I have been doing a money raise on 2 features. One is called Island in the Stars, which is a sci-fi adventure, raising money to film it in Australia.
Wow.
And then, another is a thriller. It's under $2 million thriller called Test Drive, and it's set in a moving vehicle. It's like Duel and Speed by way of the Coen brothers.
Cool.
Nice.
And it would be a great, tight little thriller, contained space kind of thriller in a moving car. So I've been trying to raise money for the last 2 years for those two films, and we're getting much, much closer. And we've got some incredible people that are interested in being in it. I'd love those are the two things I'd absolutely love to make. But in the meantime, I'm also going to start producing some new stuff. We just got remonetized on the channel,
Yep.
so on the YouTube channel, you're going to start seeing some more series like Invention with Brian Forbes and Ghost Quest and all those different comedy series are going to come back alive. And I'm going to start doing some live streams and having guests and stuff on.
Cool.
So it should be a lot of fun.
And just real quick, I know this isn't, necessarily one of the things you might be pushing right now, but I just dropped a link to everybody. Check out, if you are into horror,
Yeah.
check out Noise in the Middle. I just dropped the Tubi link.
Yes.
And if you enjoy it, make sure I'm sure Tubi must have the opportunity to, rate it or something like that.
It helps. Every view helps, and views, they play commercials during it, and you get paid if people watch it with the commercial. So yes.
Yeah, check out Noise in the Middle. Tom has a cool character role in there that is.
I love that guy. Yeah, he runs basically a psychic bookstore, and I got to cut loose in that one. We filmed it up in Washington State, and the guy that I did it with, I had met through commercials, and we did this commercial called Raisin Brahms together, where I burst through. It's like a fake cereal commercial. I come through with Brahms, and it's really funny. And he asked me to do that character, and I was like, you know what? I'd love to do it. So Noise in the Middle is a really cool part, and you can check it out right now. Yeah, it's a horror movie.
Yeah, I watched it specifically because I knew you were in it, and I wanted to check it out. But I'll tell you what, if I had just stumbled upon it without knowing, I might have been like, man, that looks like. Well, let me check IMDb. Is that Tom?
Yeah, I love the outfit they have me in. The minute the minute I'm in that outfit and I put that on and I did that guy, I became that guy. I needed to just feel that. You put it on and you become that character. And in this case, he's funnier than the rest of the movie is, but he's also delivering really important, serious stuff.
Yeah, it's a great way of exposition, right?
Yeah.
Of getting it in there. There is a humor element in there, which I think is underrated in a horror film.
Yeah.
I have pointed this out about like the Freddy Krueger franchise.
Yes.
Freddy Krueger's got these great one-liners that are very funny, which actually, in my opinion, kind of heightens the horror because you're going, ha, 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 ha. You know what I mean?
It's why we laugh at the top of a roller coaster.
Yes, exactly.
You're like, okay, I'm gonna die. Yeah.
And real quick, I do want to address and say hi to Keely Chow, but especially because this is a great opportunity for anyone that's coming in late or whatever. This is one of those streams where when we're done here, you can go back and watch from the beginning, and the link is always going to be there up at the top. You can watch the movie along with the commentary. You can watch the movie without the commentary. Make sure you do that. Hit the like button, subscribe to The Real Deal with Tom Konkle, and you can thank me later,
Perfect. Thank you.
That's great, Tom. Tom, I want to thank you so much. And I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Sure.
Can I get you back on maybe in a couple months or, middle of summer, end of summer, and we do the same kind of thing except with Trouble Is My Business?
Love to. I think we could have a really interesting talk about it. And it would be fun to share that with everybody. And there's more that I've wanted to say about it that I've never had a chance. I'd like to do it exclusively with you.
Oh, that would be awesome. Because I'm going to say this, too. You did do a rewatch or watch party or whatever you want to call it with Midnight's Edge.
Yes,
so you can find that video out there on the Midnight's Edge channel, I'm sure, if you just, do a search on their channel. And, of course, Trouble Is My Business, you can find on the link below on his channel. But, again, I recommend definitely get the DVD. both black and white and color.
That's right.
And
And the Blu-ray is in black and white. It's an exclusive on Blu-ray. It's in black
I have both.
and white. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And that was actually a kind of a coup. We found a distributor. There was pushback from a lot of the streamers. They wouldn't take a black and white movie. So I did it in color and black and white. But I found a distributor who was like, I get it. This is cool in black and white. Let's do it on Blu-ray. And I was like, that's perfect. And so the Blu-ray is the cleanest, best copy.
And we'll talk about that, when we do the rewatch, because I know you mentioned that you filmed it in color, but you did it with the idea of desaturating it. You're like, I got to choose colors that are going to work well in the black and white.
Yes.
Netter, you were going to say something?
Well, people that come to my Thursday things know that for every 100 subs I get, I give away stuff. So 300 subs, you guys get me up there, I'm going to be giving away a copy of Trouble Is My Business.
There you go. That means we got to get another copy. So, okay, fine.
Well,
Better go ahead and order it.
I'll send you my info, and I will sign that copy.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
There we
okay.
go.
Yeah, there we go.
So there you go. Let's get and of course Netter's link is below. Make sure you subscribe to her, and we'll do a giveaway of that when she gets to how many again? 300 subs.
300.
Because
Yeah.
I'm at 235, I think, right now.
Hell, you know what? If we get Netter to 300 subs, let's do the watch party on her channel, and then do that giveaway.
Yeah,
that's
that'd
a
be
great
wonderful.
idea.
Let's do
That
that.
may take a while. My subs trickle in.
Well, if you want a chance to win a copy, share with all your friends. Make sure that Netter gets subscribed to. Make sure Tom gets subscribed to, and they'll thank you later. Trust me, because
That's right.
there's some great stuff on Tom's channel. Tom, before we cut you loose, because I know we're keeping you from dinner,
No worries.
is there anything else you wanted to share? Anything we didn't get to that you wanted to?
You know what? I really appreciated being here. If anybody would like to get in touch with me, it's easy on Twitter, at Tom Konkle. I am getting ready to make these new projects I'm really excited about, and I hope everybody will hit me up on the channel, and I'd love to hear from anybody.
Yeah, make sure you're subscribed to The Real Deal with Tom Konkle. Hit that notification bell, and then you can shoot me off a note anytime and say, Troy, thank you so much. This is some great stuff, and I appreciate the entertainment.
Thank you for having me on tonight. This was great.
Thanks
thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much, Tom. You know that we're big fans, but
Yeah.
I just feel like I need to say that.
Yeah, I really enjoy being here with you, and this whole opportunity to see stuff again through your eyes and just talk about it makes me go, you know what? I want to do more stuff. It's like I want. Like, what was I thinking?
We're waiting. We'll consume. We'll support.
I have tons of ideas and things that I really want to get done this year. And there's some stuff in the pipeline right now that I think you're really gonna like.
I'm looking forward to it. You know I am. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Thank you for having me on. It was an absolute pleasure. Aged Netter, thank you as well.
Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Thanks so much, Tom. See you soon.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, that was fun. I'm sorry. I'm geeking out here. Definitely a big fanboy. I don't think I hid that very well.
No, you did great. That was very insightful, actually, onto the making
Right?
of this thing. Yeah.
This is probably the biggest reason why I'm such a big fan of his, because he did this on Midnight's Edge. He did this he does this on his own channel. He talks about the industry, and he talks about the behind the scenes stuff. In fact, on his channel you'll find a lot of behind the scenes type videos and stuff like that. If you are really interested in how movie making is done and what the environment in Hollywood is like, his channel is definitely worth checking out. But then again, he's also got just the sketch comedies and whatnot that are really worth checking out.
Cool.
But and Evelyn's saying, lovely meeting Tom. Yeah, this is I appreciate everyone kind of sharing in the excitement and enjoying hanging out with Tom, because maybe we get him back. If not on my channel, sounds like we're going to get him back on Netter's channel. That would be a lot of fun. But
I just need about 70 more subs.
yeah, we need about 70 more subs, so make sure you share out, I don't know, help us with the marketing. Send out, Netter's link is below, share it out on the social media, say, hey, this is somebody who's got great content, we're trying to get her up there, you know.
Well, I just want to get to 300 so I can get away more stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And a signed copy of Trouble Is My Business.
I know, right? We don't even have signed copies of these videos, so, you know, that's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, so that was, I almost said Trouble Is My Business. That is Safety Geeks SVI. And, you know, that's great stuff. And you know what? We talked over the whole thing. You learned a lot, but now you can go back and watch it again without us, you know, chatting. You know, it's a lot of fun. Very, very funny stuff. So let's start looking ahead to the rest of the week. So tomorrow night is Saturday. What's going on Saturday?
We are going to be watching the original 1950-ish version.
It is 1950, yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Of Cheaper by the Dozen.
Cheaper by the Dozen. Guys, this is... I know that it was remade in the 80s or 90s with Steve Martin or whatever. We're watching the original. I have some very fond memories of this film. That will be tomorrow night on Netter's Network, and I will provide the Cosme link if you don't have your own copy, so you can watch along with it.
Is this like the precursor to Brady Bunch?
Kind of is. Yeah, I think you're right. I think there is that connection there.
Except for that show was in the half dozen.
Yeah, exactly. Because it seems like the later you go in history, the smaller the families seem to get, right?
Yeah.
So then Sunday, the pre-show, unscripted with deleted scenes, episode 11, switching channels. I've just given you the link, so you can go and check out what that title is all about. That will be, I think that's like 7:30, 7 o'clock. I don't know. It's about an hour before Geeky Geezers.
Yeah? Oh, that's our show.
Yeah, it is. And we've got a whole friggin' lot of stuff. I'm still putting those notes together.
I decided for the stream, we're only going to focus on one story, the most important story of the night, which is the Kraven the Hunter movie coming out. I think we can get a good 2 hours out of discussing that.
Jeez, man.
I mean, I love
excited. The way you think, but I don't know.
I'm excited. I'm joking, dude. You know I'm joking, right?
I hope so.
These Spider-Man-less Sony movies.
Because I've got like 75 news articles I got to try putting together into the notes.
It's going to be a hard R.
We will have some things. Oh, it's 8 p.m. Eastern, so 7 p.m. Central.
You got a lot of stuff to talk about. There are actually some interesting movies coming out for a change. I mean,
yeah.
Did you like that one I sent you about it's the anti-Little Mermaid movie coming out?
Yeah, no, exactly.
No, it's by the people that did Shrek. It's instead the mermaid's the villain, and she looks like Ariel. Did you notice that? I
love that. I love that. And you know what?
It's coming out like a month after the Disney version.
Talk about marketing. That's a company that's thinking. They know what they're doing.
That's Universal again, because that's DreamWorks. I keep thinking Universal's Illumination, but DreamWorks also distributes through Universal. So Universal, in some ways, they have two animation studios. The one is it's more of a distribution thing, I guess. Universal, but they're friendly. And
Knights of Real says, "How could Kraven the Hunter be anything but?" I'm assuming rated R. Yes, but when it's connected to Marvel and Marvel is connected to Disney.
No, but this is a Sony Marvel.
I understand.
It's gonna be a hard R. That's what they said. There's like blood and guts and everything. It's.
But Knights of Real is absolutely right, because if you want to do Kraven the Hunter right, it needs to be dark. It needs to be dark. It really does. And I hope this isn't like. I hope Kraven doesn't end up dead by the end of this. I hope this is a setup, so that we have a payoff later on.
No, it's probably a setup for the Sinister Six movie they want to make.
I hope so. They're
probably trying to throw him in with Morbius and Venom and
It's Craven time.
And the Vulture, who's now in the other universe,
right?
For reasons. And now we'll have Craven. Exactly. We just need 2 more. I guess who's left? The Rhino, maybe.
The Rhino is good. I'd love to see that in live action.
And the Scorpion, I guess, right? Or Electro, or no, they're not gonna do Electro again.
I just gotta say,
they did, yeah.
The only Marvel I'm gonna be seeing now is Sony. I will not be going to any Disney films. Just not. I don't care how good y'all tell me something is. I ain't going to see it. And as you all know, I'm not a review channel anyway, so I have no obligation to. So
I did want to tell you, I did see a movie recently. I finally saw it myself. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I recommend it. Check it out.
Netter and I love the Puss in Boots and the Shrek films.
It's all in that. Yeah, there's.
So I know we're gonna love it. I'm probably gonna end up just buying her the DVD.
Yeah.
So. Absolutely.
It's good
so
stuff.
I just gave away our anniversary gift. So
like I'm gonna remember.
Well, yeah, good point. Especially after that Netter Colada that I gave you at the beginning of the stream.
Was Kitten Soft Paws in other Shrek movies, or was their first movie? I'm wondering.
I don't remember.
She must be a new character.
We're gonna have to rewatch the first one just for the hell of it. Just why not?
I don't want to spoil it anymore for you.
Netter remembers it better than
I do. She shows up again. I don't want to spoil anymore.
Do we have any soundtracks with Birdman sightings on Monday?
We're not sure because he's trying to arrange stuff with guests. So we actually ended up doing Aliens this past week because it was Alien Day. But apparently someone wants to do Lost Boys and someone wants to do the Cowboys. So we're arranging it. And if neither of those pull through, we might be doing Alien 3. Heaven help me.
I know.
I
but
don't
I'll tell you what,
Alien
Lost Boys,
3.
Lost Boys.
Excellent movie.
Sleep all day, party all night, never grow old, never die.
It's kind of pretty. It's fun to be a vampire.
It is. It is.
That had a great cast for the time.
That was without spoiling the this 30-year-old film. Great little twist at the end.
Love it.
And I honestly
couple twists at the end.
Without that movie, I don't think we'd have had Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
No. I mean, you had other vampire movies in the 80s. You had Vamp, you had Fright Night. But I think
all of which were very different kinds of films. I think that Fright Night, Lost Boys was the precursor to
probably
Buffy,
Yeah. And Thursday.
Okay, so what about? Do we have any? Is there anything going? No, not Tuesday or nothing. Okay.
No, I don't think so.
No. Yeah, Sir Torin. Think about this town, all these damn vampires. Yeah, exactly.
Best way to end the film too. That was the best line at the very end.
Not to mention, all of course,
Grandpa knew all along.
for logical reasons, they're all set in California, Buffy and this and whatnot. And then you hear the Tom Petty song, "All the vampires walking through a scene." It's like, yep, just like all the films of the past decade.
They're all in California.
Right, are all in
California.
Vampires
are in California. What I loved about that last line, though, is that they beat this group. There are other vampires out there.
Which gets you thinking there could have been a sequel, there could have been a series. That's a missed opportunity.
Well, maybe we're better off. I know they did eventually do a sequel. I have not seen it, so I can't comment. But
Night of Real. Near Dark was another good one. Didn't get enough attention recognition. It's finger licking good.
I need to see that. Is that an 80s folk?
You've never seen Near Dark? Oh my gosh.
I'll look for it if it's an 80s.
I'm going to say nothing else about it.
Okay.
I'm going to say nothing else about it because it would be too easy for me to ruin it for you.
I just ordered another copy of Trouble Is My Business.
There you go. We'll have to send it out to Tom to get it signed then. So we're getting ready to give that away to somebody.
I mean, come on. I only need actually like 65 more.
Yep. We'll get you there. No worries. So that brings us to Thursday. Speaking of Netter's Network, special guest Daryl the Derelict, who was my guest last month. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's Thursday the 4th, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. There's the link, so make sure you check it out. which brings us around to next Friday back here, where my guest is going to be CK, the longest running superhero role playing game. Fuck, what was it? What's his channel's again?
Longest running role playing game
in all of friggin' history or some crap like that. I can't even
What?
remember. I gotta scroll back up. Chris Kent, what is your channel again? Longest running superhero RPG on Earth. Oh, for crying out loud. So he's going to be coming back to kind of... I feel like every couple of months I need someone to come on and kick me in the ass and get me, back on my project of reimagining the DC cinematic universe.
When is he on your channel?
Next week.
He's on my channel on the 11th.
Wow! So there you go.
You get a double dose.
You're going to get a double dose of CK. So it's something to look forward to. And Boosh, we're just wrapping up. But that's okay. You can always watch the rewatch, and this is one of those rare occurrences where we're doing a watch party, but you don't actually have to have watched it live because the link to the film is going to be perma-pinned at the top of the chat, so you can watch along, or you can watch the movie without the commentary, whatever you choose. But hope you enjoy it on the rewatch. That is all. That was a full 2 hours there. That was a lot of fun. Boomer, any last thoughts, any last words before we close it out?
No, this was a big guest we had on tonight, and
I know, right?
Hope he
and
comes back.
he's willing to come back on Netter's channel, and oh my gosh, he's good people. This is real talent. If there's anyone in Hollywood who deserves to be like hoity-toity, raised nose, it would be someone like Tom. But he's not like that. He's real people. I think that's probably the biggest part of why I'm such a big fan of his. I mean, aside from the incredible talent,
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, so good. Yeah, so we'll get you. We'll be back on your channel on Sunday. Netter, you want to take us out with your last words?
Yep, let me get closer to the microphone because I was sounding echoey before.
Yep.
So, you know what I always say.
I do.
We can talk amongst ourselves, and that's all well, good, and fun. But it's so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat. You're dropping your comments, your questions, your trivia. You're just being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. It feels like we're all just hanging out in the same room, just enjoying each other's company, having a good time. And you're not just our friends.
Yeah.
You're our family. We love you guys, and we appreciate you so very much for being here with us and for us. Don't forget to subscribe to everybody in the chat. Together we grow.
Yep.
And we will see you next time.
Absolutely. And I just want to, reiterate what I was saying, like somewhere in the middle of that stream. We were talking about, troops and whatnot, and the people you surround yourselves with, and that's all of you guys. I super appreciate every single one of you so much. It's the only reason I do it. I'm not a monetized channel. I'm probably about 400 away from being monetized, but even then, I know it's going to be pennies. That's not what this is about. This is about hanging out with you guys. And who's Miles, and why is he separating us? Yeah, exactly. I like that, Bush. That's a good one. Gosh, I mean, I swear I live for Friday nights to hang out with you guys. But no, Netter's right. I appreciate all of you guys. Hit the like button on your way out. Share out the stream, especially this one, because this is one that I think everyone can enjoy and benefit from. And, I'll catch you on the next one. Take care, y'all. Salud.
Night.
All right.
Good night, ladies.
Good night, sir.
Hit it, sweetheart.